What's the weirdest thing a woman has told you means you're not a real man? I wore an apron while cooking. I overheard a conversation between two girls in my class. One said her ex wasn't a real man because he started crying when she broke up with him. To make it even worse, the male teacher agreed. My first wife told me that I wasn't a real man because I wouldn't hit her. Couldn't get out of that marriage fast enough. Thankfully we didn't have kids, so I never saw or heard from her again. Had a double knee injury. On the drive home from the hospital, she said, I can't depend on you to be my man if you can't walk. Well, newsflash, that's the worst thing to ever say to another human being that is in pain. I declined to drink alcohol because I still had to drive. Was told I should start being a man. One super nice woman informed me that if my flaccid penis couldn't helicopter, I wasn't a real man. Dick size shaming and harassment are super fucked up. I have big hands, so when I'm forced to hold a small cup by the handle I put my pinky finger out so my hand doesn't cramp up from smashing all my fingers in there to hold it. My wife says in disgust that it makes me look girly. I always respond, if you care so much then get me a bigger cup. Had a woman over for a home cooked dinner. She asked who cleans my house and how much they cost as I started to make dinner. I told her I don't pay someone to clean my house, I just always pick up after myself. She told me real men don't clean or cook. Didn't even make it to dinner before I asked her to leave. She started freaking out and saying shit like, you know, it's the 2020s now, it's okay to just come out of the closet and get yourself some dickle because I keep a clean house. People are fucking insane. Didn't happen to me, but I remember a while ago there was a debate amongst friends about first date etiquette. We agreed that if the man asked the woman out, it would be safe to assume he is paying, but they should talk about it. One of the girls brings up how she recently went on a date and the guy paid for part of the bill with a gift card. Think lettuce entertain you or something like that. He was a member that received a ton of rewards for reviews and frequent dining. She was just up in arms while the rest of us just waited for her to finish. That was it. She said he wasn't a man because he had to use gift cards to pay. What? Who the hell cares how the bill is paid for? There's a reason why she was absolutely single for years. Apparently I'm not a real man because I have a bird feeder. Real men don't like birds. My ex-girlfriend was cheating on me with a guy who jogs. She said I wasn't a real man because I do jujitsu, literally fighting other men, instead of jogging. Because I don't talk down to waiters/servers, I wasn't displaying dominance. That date ended before it began. A woman said to me once that because I was below 5 feet 7 inches I wasn't a real man, lol. When she came over one day and heard me singing along to Francois Hardy, she stated only gays or women would like French music from the 60s. Edit, we're actually good associates now lol, just some compatibility issues, not believing dinosaurs were real, despised suffrage, etc. Glad to see a ton of Francois Hardy fans #REALTALK #JEVOOXQUILREVIENNE check out Jody ASSIN and a the heavy hitter. I know a guy. He's the only income in the house. Provides for her and her 9-year-old daughter, not his. He works 12-hour days. He gets home and she has usually spent her day laying in bed watching Netflix. So after a 12-hour day he needs to clean the house and make dinner. When they fight, her go-to is I need a real man who can provide for me, unlike you. She's in her 30s and has never worked a day in her life. I declined sex with this thirsty girl I never had any interest in. She proceeded to call me a pussy and tell PPL I'm gay. I was actually interested in her roommate, my now GF of about 5 years. I was all in love with this one girl, but she was always dating other guys and was mostly stringing me along for favors. One night while they were out, her man got arrested and needed someone to pick up his car. It was a stick shift, so she couldn't drive it, so I showed up. for the goddamn life of me, I couldn't drive it either. I grew up on manuals, and he had an old VW Bug. I basically couldn't get it beyond first gear, and would stall out each time. She was livid. After a few minutes she started yelling and said, asterisk, I knew I should have called a real man for this asterisk. She ended up calling her ex, and I stuck around out of curiosity to see what I was doing wrong. This older dude shows up, gets in the car, and the same exact thing happened to him too. This made her fall apart even more, and I got to say something like, damn, do you have another real man you can call? Asterisk lol. She was not happy about that. She's not exactly saying that I'm not a real man, but she said that my friend farts manlier than me. Because I didn't want to change my car oil myself and took it to the dealership. FYI, at the time I was in my first engineering job as test engineer for jet engines and was helping assemble prototypes in a wind tunnel. Clearly I have no mechanical ability, since I wouldn't choke, slap, and basically beat her ass during sex. My wife and I had some problems early on because I like to play video games, PC or console. I will usually play after the kids go to bed, or on the weekends, when she is watching a show I'm not interested in. Things were fine for a while, but her mother and grandmother started to make a bunch of comments, eventually leading to my wife complaining to me about it in front of them, while they start piling on to back her up. Eventually the comment is made that real men don't play video games. I deadpanned, oh, what do real men do? Sleep with prostitutes? Have multiple affairs? Hang at the bar? Hidden gambling addicts? Basically describing the multiple failed marriages of the above ladies. I feel like I'm letting you off cheap time to head to the wasteland and headshot some super mutants. I was having a bad day and I broke down crying in front of a woman I was dating. She said I wasn't a man because I cried. Excuse me for wanting to healthily express my feelings in front of someone who I thought cared for me. That relationship ended shortly afterward. For the same button-down dress shirt from two different women. Woman -1, you're not wearing an undershirt. That's something a little kid would do, not a grown man. Woman -2, 2 to 3 months later, you're wearing an undershirt with that? That's what little boys do. A real man doesn't wear undershirts. In conclusion, real men both wear and don't wear undershirts. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Because I made heart hands behind a love sign at a wedding. It was a joke too, but she didn't like it. Not getting a credit card. I was unemployed. How the fuck was I supposed to convince the bank to issue me a credit card? She even said I should have gotten a platinum. I don't argue enough. I'm not unwilling, but nothing gets accomplished in a heated exchange. If I can't get my point across relatively calmly, then I'll wait until we calm down and have a rational conversation. My ex told me men should bite off their nails instead of using nail clippers, because apparently that's a feminine trait. A girl in college once told me that I wasn't a real man because I couldn't open an imported beer bottle with just my hand. Then, some guy stepped in, grabbed the bottle from me, and tried to open the bottle until he shattered the neck of the bottle and shredded up his hand. She just laughed at him for being a goof. When I cried when a good friend died, on the first day it was okay. I was still devastated after 2 weeks, and sometimes lost it when STH made me remember him. Her advice was to man up. I was told I am gay as I'm genuinely interested in other persons, including complimenting small things about girls that generally guys don't notice. She was obese, and I wasn't attracted to her. She aggressively hit on me, and I told her politely I wasn't interested. With no explanation given on my part, she immediately jumped to something along the lines of real men find thick women like myself hot as fuck. I told her to go find one of those guys. My ex would give you a list, but a few honorable mentions. Because I didn't fight dudes just because she didn't like them. Because I really refuse the idea of providing for a woman just she could be lazy and stay at home. Note, no kids were in the picture. Because I work in it and not as a luthier or something. Because I didn't give up everything else. Because I didn't agree with all her religious and political beliefs. Because I disagreed with her about how a woman has to do nothing but laying there during sex. Because I had her own opinion. I, as a woman, have gotten shit on my husband's behalf because he likes to read. Apparently that's not manly. Meh, whatever. I'm good with it. We both like to read. Having cats. And that, if I drowned them like a real man, she would talk to me. I bought my beasts a rotisserie chicken that night. I get pedicures. I was in the military and I had frostbite in my toes during a deployment, so I want my nails to be healthy. Plus, it's my effing business. A female colleague heard about it and asked me, do I get my V at Gina Wax too? She basically went around saying I'm not a man because I get my toes cleaned and treated by a professional. I was told I wasn't a real man because I would apologize when I fucked up.